Welcome to Beyond the Pew, a podcast equipping the church to know Christ and make him known. I'm Corey.
And I'm Chris.
And it's your birthday.
It's my birthday.
And I can't not say anything. So happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You know, I don't necessarily. Are you 58? Oh, 58?
58.
No.
And I'm not a big birthday fan.
No?
For me personally. It's just another day, right?
Yeah.
I happen to share a birthday with my son, Elijah. He was born on my birthday.
It's a good present.
We have the same birthday. Yeah, it was a great present. So I'd rather, focus on him on this day than me.
Yeah.
But I was reading where there was a study done that apparently birthdays are good for your health. Studies have shown.
Wait, celebrating birthdays or just having them?
Well, studies have shown that the more birthdays somebody has, the longer they live. So I'll take it.
I was trying not to be so obvious about it.
Kind of tricked you there. Yeah. You're like, wait, what?
Got me.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
I was like, no, he's not going there.
Birthdays are good for your health.
Totally going there. Yes.
So since birthday was on Monday, and we're pretty much empty nesters, so the kids came in this weekend. Jenna and I kicked the weekend off by going to a show.
How was that?
A rock show, blues show in Winston on Friday night. We went to see this blues artist. Her name is Samantha Fish.
Okay.
And you might not be familiar with her, but I love blues music, electric blues especially. All right? I love that. And so, we got there. Actually, I got there and when the doors opened. And so I'd never been in this venue before. It's just an open space, and went and stood right at the front of the stage. Like, they had a little gate up, a little fence or whatever. But I was right there. I mean, like,
stood the whole time?
4 or 5 feet away from the microphone she was singing in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, stood there the whole time. Jenna came. She was coming in from Raleigh. She's my little concert buddy. And so, because she's a guitarist. I love guitarists. Mm-hmm. And so watching up close her playing was a lot of fun. But my ears are still sort of ringing. I mean, I'm too old, I think, for these kind of experiences. But it was great. So Jenna and I had fun, and then we woke up Saturday, and Mary Beth and her husband Chris and the grandbaby came over. Elijah was there, and we just had a big time together. It was a lot of fun. And so,
did you smoke anything?
No, I did not smoke anything.
Meat is what we're talking about.
Yes, meat. I didn't smoke any meat. What I did, though, and what I wanted to do is I did homemade pizza on the big green egg.
Oh, nice. Yes.
I have this thick pizza stone that I put on there and 600 degrees. And, dude, let me tell you. And Tiffany told me, she said, I think these are the best pizzas you've made.
Nice.
They were great.
So things get better with age.
Oh, they were great. I don't know if they get better with age, but the pizza was really good. We had a good time. And then Jenna, she loves to cook, so she made a homemade chocolate cake, like from scratch.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it was fantastic. I had the last piece this morning.
What's your favorite kind of chocolate cake?
Well, just
whatever's in front of me.
Whatever's in front of me.
You know what my favorite is?
German chocolate.
Yes, it is.
I knew it was German chocolate.
I don't know why I love German chocolate so much.
I like German chocolate, but I mean, it was good. So we just had fun. We had a good time. And then yesterday was great being at church and being here with everybody. We had a great day yesterday. Elijah hung out, so we watched the Panthers game together.
And they won.
Still had some more birthday stuff that we were doing yesterday afternoon, which was fun. And, so we had a good time. He left. We watched a little bit of the Hornets preseason, and then he had to take off and go back. So we had a good time. It was wonderful. Everything was just perfect and no complaints. Everybody's been so kind. Everybody's been kind here.
Nice.
Too. Everybody's very kind to remember my birthday. And so, it's been great.
That's great.
It's been good.
That is awesome. You know, the Panthers almost gave it away. They were trying. They were trying until they got that last, I think it was an interception right at the very end.
Yeah, they were.
To end it.
It was fun. It was fun watching the Panthers win and hanging out with Elijah. Since we shared the day, we had a good time.
Good.
Yeah, it was nice.
Good. I'm glad
So, another successful trip around the sun. You never know how many you're going to get.
So tell me, in the last 20 years, one thing that you've learned that has given you one thing that's giving you hope, helped you endure, giving you joy. What's one thing?
In the last 20 years?
Last 20 years. I'm 38. You realize that. So we're 20 years apart.
So, yes. In the last 20 years, one of the things that's been the most joyful for me is enjoying our adult children.
Oh.
They after they graduate high school and then they go to college, graduate. Again, Elijah's not out of college yet, but man, you relate differently. Right now, you got 4 little kids at home.
Yeah.
And I know, not all of them are little, right? But you got 4 kids at home.
10 and under.
And you're just dealing with it's a different life for you, right?
Oh, yeah.
It has different demands. And, the older your kids get, the different your parenting becomes. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so proud of my kids, too. I mean, I'm just so proud of them and, how they're handling life and how they do what they do, so yeah, it's been good. That part's been the best. Been the best.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. 20 years, and then having a grandchild.
Yeah, and she came over to celebrate with us on Saturday, and she's just an absolute delight.
Yeah,
just a delight. It's just different, right?
Right.
And so
everything.
When I was your age, if somebody were talking like this, I'd be like, "Oh man, I can't even understand what you're talking about."
No, that doesn't even occur to me. But it's one of those things where it's just like my life, I feel like I've had like 3 or 4 different sections of my life that I can look back on and say I've learned X from it, or I've learned nothing from it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, always love hearing, what are the things that
you value things a little differently the older you get. Yeah.
Older, yeah.
Like, you value friendships differently. And so, and also for me, and Jen and I were talking about this the other day. You realize there's a lot of things that you're able to do, like go to a concert
with your adult daughter
Friday night with your adult daughter, that you might not necessarily think, I don't know, it'd be easier to just sit at home and watch the show on TV, but then you realize I ain't got that many more trips around the sun, so I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And you think differently.
Yeah. That's true.
So there's places I want to see and things I want to experience.
Yeah.
Life is good. In other words, life is fun.
Yeah.
Most of it's fun. Most of it. There's a lot of it, sometimes, not a lot, but most of it's fun. Some of it's really hard.
Yeah.
And you can't let the hard, difficult parts overshadow the joy. There's a lot of joy. I mean, I get up on Sunday mornings, I'm like, man, I'm super excited I get to go to church.
Yeah.
How many Sundays, because we have folks here that we love with all of our heart that were super instrumental in the development of the ministry of this church years and years ago. And they're at a place in our life where they're on the last lap and they can't come.
Yeah.
They want to. They long to be here, but physically they're unable to come.
Right.
And I think about that sometimes. I think, man, what a joy it is. What a delight to be with God's people on Sunday morning. Am I going to be able to do this every Sunday for the rest of my life? Maybe. But maybe not. So I'm going to soak it up and enjoy it. And then even yesterday, it was a day of great rejoicing. We had an exploring membership class. Yep. There were 17 folks, I think, 18,
I think,
that were a part of that.
Yeah.
That have been visiting. That are like, hey, tell us more about First Baptist Welcome, and we want to get to know you guys. And
18, yeah, it was a full room.
And it was fun.
Pretty fun, yeah.
It was a lot of fun, and I rejoice in that. The church is not about a personality.
No.
Unless that personality is Jesus.
Right.
Right? And so yesterday it was Sundays. I look forward to Sundays. I look forward to being with God's people. I look forward to meeting with leaders. I look forward to singing with the saints. I look forward to studying the Bible. I love Sunday school. I love sitting in there and learning and growing, and it's just great.
Yeah, I agreed. Yesterday was very encouraging.
Yeah, it was a great day.
Yeah, especially, I mean, we not just like the normal stuff, but the exploring membership class was quite encouraging, and to see all those faces and to have some conversations we got a lot of people that want to be here. It's great. It's great.
It's good.
That they want to join us and they want to keep moving forward. And we'll hope they'll come forward soon, join for membership. And
I guess maybe the lesson is the older you get, the more joy you begin to find in simple things.
Oh yeah, I've seen that even in my life. You know, my cousin and I took our boys to go to the batting cages yesterday afternoon, and it came up last minute, and I was like, you know what, I really need to I just need to spend some time. And so we go, and the thing that she said, she goes, you know, Corey, because we're like 2 months apart. Me and her are really close in age. She goes, Corey, you live just down the street, and we never see you anymore. Yeah. And I was like, but you never saw me when I was in Florida. I'm still trying to learn this, my cousin's down the street thing.
Right.
And so we spent 45 minutes in the car both ways, you know, talking and, you know, cutting it up. And we don't get to ever just talk.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's good to have a good conversation and spend time with our kids and just,
you know, when you've got young kids at home and you're starting out in life with marriage, work, everything is complicated.
It feels like
it's really complicated.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out, you know, mortgages and student loans, and you're starting to figure all those things out, right? And there's a lot of stress and financial pressure, and you're busy, like sports, kids sports, school events. I mean, it's just crazy. You go home at the end of the night and you collapse, and you're just like, golly, everything is complicated and chaotic.
Yeah.
When you push through that and you get to where I'm at now, one of the rewards of that is not being selfish, right?
Right.
I'm not going to say, well, I did all this for my kids, now I'm going to live for myself. It's not like that. It's like you're able to breathe and you're able to look and say, you know what? I'm going to sit down right here and I'm going to eat this bowl of ice cream to the glory of God. And I'm going to watch this show with my wife, whatever it is. We're going to spend time together that evening watching a show that we like.
Yeah. And
then I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to sleep great. I'm going to wake up in the morning and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And so you just, the joys and the pleasures of life shift a little bit. Not that they weren't there, but when you're a kid, you can't get yourself a bowl of ice cream. Or when you have kids, you've got to get everybody a bowl of ice cream. It's just crazy.
You know, we have a rule in our house.
Yeah.
No, people can complain about what daddy eats, but that doesn't mean that they get it.
Right.
That might make me really cruel. But I'm not meaning it to be cruel. It's just like, no, they understand. They get their treats too. Yeah. And they do. Yes, you're totally right, though.
So Ecclesiastes, I preached through Ecclesiastes and Solomon. I summarize it this way, and it's kind of being silly, but you can't fix the world. You can't even really fix your life, but you can fix supper and have some friends over. That's one way to do it. A lot of joy in that, you know.
Yes.
And having a birthday, and then Facebook and social media and texting. And then having just a lot of friends that reach out and say, hey, I'm glad you made it around the sun another trip. Yeah. It's good. It's encouraging. Yeah,
good.
It's a good day.
I'm glad. You know, October is not only about your birthday. I think that it's a worthy thing to think about. But it's also fall time.
Oh, October's the best month in the world.
We have amazing weather right now.
I love October.
We're going to have better weather this weekend.
So we got the fairs in town, and there's the fall football, and you've just got everything is laced with pumpkin spice, and
not a big fan of that, but
and you got apple cider and apple pies and apple fritters and baked apples and
speaking my language,
pumpkin pies, and it's just it's a wonderful time of year. Used to this time of year we would do chicken stews, cook them over an open fire in a big black kettle. And cook them over a fire. So we got kind of smoky chicken stew with white pepper in it, milk, and chicken and broth. Oh, butter, lots of butter. My goodness. So fall is fun.
Yeah.
Fall is fun.
Yeah. Fall also has I love October for a few things. One of them is being Reformation Day is coming.
That's right.
And there are only a few times where I mean, if it were so, if it ran across someone's mind to sing "A Mighty Fortress Is Our God" all the time, I would probably be okay with it.
Yeah.
But it does. I'm thinking about like the Reformation doctrines, the thing that came out of those things, and so Wednesday night, heads up. If you hear this before Wednesday night, we're going to talk about a little bit of the Reformation doctrines, the 5 solas.
Good.
And it's just going to be an overview, nothing too crazy. You probably already heard it all, but it's something that's on my mind, on my heart. It always is in October.
Yeah.
And you are going to New York.
Heading to New York.
Yes.
Yeah. We have a short little partnership trip over the weekend with a church planter in New York City that we're working with, that we're getting to know and work with him. So we're excited about that. I'm going to go up a couple of days early. My brother, some of you know, I have a brother that lives there. And so I'm going to go visit with him for a little bit.
Nice.
For a couple of days. Yeah, it's going to be really nice. I love New York. New York's been a special place for me for a long time. Because my brothers lived there for 30 years. But even before that, my mom worked for Piedmont Airlines. And so we would fly for free, non-rev. And there would be days, I'd be in high school, and Mom would say, hey, you want to eat at the Hard Rock Cafe Friday in Times Square? And we would just fly up and go to eat. We'd take a taxi from the airport.
Wow.
We'd walk around for a little bit, and then we'd fly home. And so I loved that. I fell in love kind of with New York. A lot of people like Chicago, or they like Philadelphia, or they like, there's some city, some place. For some people, it's Myrtle Beach. They know all the restaurants in Myrtle Beach. And then it's that. But for me, it's been New York. Flying up to New York, I've gotten comfortable there. So I'm going to go up and spend a couple of days with him. I'm super excited about our church planter there. Yeah. And, of course, John Welburn, who was born here.
You're going to go. They have a thing on Thursday night. Are you going to go to that thing?
What thing?
They have like a big old worship service on Staten Island.
Oh, I don't know. I might.
Thursday night. That might be worth going by and swinging by. Yeah,
so John, whose dad was the pastor at First Welcome, John was born here. John now is, I want to say like he's a pastor of a church in Staten Island, and he's responsible for recruiting, training, and sending out church planters in New York, not just New York City, but
the whole
upstate and things like that. So, and we love John, and John's amazing. John does good work, and so we're gonna try to see John when we're up there.
Yeah.
So.
I was just thinking just now. I was like, oh yeah, they have a worship service on Thursday night now.
Yeah,
that'd be worth stopping by. But so today's topic. You ready? I don't think I'm ready.
Yeah, let me hear it. So what, if you're listening to this, we primarily make this for our local church family.
Yes.
And we're happy for others to listen if there's any benefit for them to listen. And then but normally when we sit down, when we make time to sit down, I have no earthly idea what we're talking about. You've got something in your mind, and you just sort of lay it out. So lay it on me. Okay,
so here's the deal. We've been talking about Baptist distinctives.
Yes.
All right. And in our membership class yesterday, we were talking about Baptist distinctives, and one of those being baptism. We believe that we baptize believers only.
Yep.
Another one is congregationalism.
Correct.
And underpinning that is priesthood of all believers and some other things that are really kind of integral to this. One thing that I don't know if we've not covered one of the main distinctives, but we haven't really talked about the supper.
Oh, the Lord's Supper.
The Lord's Supper.
Okay.
And from a
that.
Baptist perspective. And I think when I was talking about it yesterday, I was trying to give a clue as to, or not a clue, but hey, we are not certain things. And we are certain things. So I think it would be helpful for our church to actually hear that, especially since communion is coming. I don't think it's at the end of this month, but soon we're going to have a communion service or a Lord's Supper service, depending on what tradition you come from. And so I would love to talk about that. Baptist distinctive, Lord's Supper.
Oh, the Lord's Supper. So what do we think? What do we believe about the Lord's Supper? Well, we believe there are two ordinances.
Yes.
Which would be baptism and the Lord's Supper. So to put it in some sort of context, we believe that there was, that God established a covenant with Israel called the Old Covenant. was a covenant that God made some promises to give them a land and to give them, make them a great nation, that they would be from them. The world would be blessed. From them, someone would come that would bless the world, right?
Yep.
So there were some stipulations. It was a conditional covenant.
Yeah.
And the stipulation was, I will be your God, you'll be my people, and you will obey and do what I say, basically, was kind of how it worked.
Yeah.
And then we learned from the Old Testament that Israel failed to obey their conditional promises, like they worshipped idols and all those type of things. But God kept, even though they violated the covenant, God kept his promise. And that promise ultimately was to bring Jesus into the world.
The serpent crusher.
Right, the serpent crusher. So then you turn the page into the New Testament, and you have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you have the arrival of the promised one, right, which is Jesus, born of a virgin. Got that whole thing. And he establishes what was promised in the Old Testament, that there would be a new covenant. So on the last night of his life, he holds up the cup. He has the Passover, but he reinterprets it into what we call the Lord's Supper. And he says, this cup represents the blood of the new covenant.
Yeah.
So there's a new covenant that's established, right? And that new covenant is not the stipulation now is not our obedience. It's now our faith in the obedience of Christ.
Yes.
All
on
right?
our behalf, yes.
We can't keep the law.
No.
Christ kept it for us. And that we now, in the new covenant, now there is a righteousness that is gained by faith, not by works.
Right.
Right? And the promise is now, I will never leave you or forsake you, that nothing can separate us from the love of God in Christ Jesus. All right? So you have this new covenant. Covenants have signs. Some will remember the flood. And so God made a promise, a covenant, Noah, and the promise was he would not destroy the world again in that manner.
Yep.
The flood. And the sign was the rainbow.
The rainbow. Yep.
He made a covenant with Abraham. He made a covenant with Moses, made a covenant with David. A covenant with Abraham, what was the sign? You remember? Was circumcision. Covenant with Moses, sign was Sabbath. So you have these covenant signs, okay? And what's interesting about those covenant signs is that they're all sort of, they represent a continual remembrance. So, for example, with the rainbow, right? How often have you seen a rainbow?
Well, pretty often. I used to live in Florida.
Often. It's a continual reminder. You see them all the time.
Yeah.
So with the Sabbath as a covenant sign for Moses, how often
do you celebrate the Sabbath? Every seventh day?
Every week.
Yeah.
With circumcision as a sign, how often was a Jewish man reminded?
All the time.
Multiple times a day.
Yes.
Right? And so in the new covenant, there are two signs. There's an initiatory sign, which is baptism. And then there's an ongoing sign, which is the Lord's Supper.
Yes.
So the initiatory sign is, we talked about this already, that someone publicly professes their identity is now in Christ by faith, and they're not only connected to Christ, they're connected to Christ's people, and we all share this initial sign of new covenant relationship. But that's why you don't have to get baptized over and over and over again.
Right, yeah.
But there is an ongoing sign, and that's the Lord's Supper.
Yep.
And by a sign points to something.
It is not the thing.
The sign is not the thing, but the sign does point to something, right? And in the new covenant, the sign of the Lord's Supper is pointing us to the work of Jesus on our behalf that has reconciled us to God. So we might call it communion. The root word of that is commune, that we're able to now commune with God. We've been reconciled to God by Jesus. And so, so at a base level, we believe that the Lord's Supper, at a minimum, is the ongoing sign of the new covenant that continually points us to remembrance of the person and work of Jesus, what he's done for us, that we might not just commune with him, but now we can commune with each other. So we come to the table together. It's a family table, and we come to celebrate. It's not a funeral meal because we serve a living Savior. It's an ongoing communal reminder of the covenant that we now have as a people with God through Jesus.
Yes.
At a base level.
Yeah. If we were to elevate it just one step from that point, is to say that, look, it's a reminder not just only of Christ's work, because it reminds us of God's faithfulness to his promise through Jesus to bring to bring a Savior into the world, but it also points us forward. So it points back. It also points us forward and says, basically reminds us that Christ is coming again. Because he's been faithful to all of his promises, it reminds us that he will continually be faithful to his promises. And that one where he comes, the second coming, is there to remind us, or that's what the supper is doing. It's actually placing us in time and space, saying, you are a part of something large, larger than yourself. You're connected to every single believer who's ever taken communion, because it is the same sign. We all share in that same sign, and there's a level of connectedness that should strike you.
Yes,
I mean, we don't have songs, for instance, from 300 AD. I mean, we can get close. We can probably reinterpret some of them, so we can sing some of those songs. We don't have necessarily the original words to the Apostles' Creed. We have something that's probably very kin to it, close. But we don't. But we do have is the same elements and the same sign in the Lord's Supper that the Lord himself set in front of his people, and in front of his disciples, and said, "Do this in remembrance of me."
Yeah, it's interesting, If you think about the Passover meal, my eyes are going to go straight to the roasted lamb. Right?
Where's the meat?
Where's the meat? But Jesus uses universal symbols of bread, or universal elements. Bread and wine, or fruit of the vine, right? Yeah. Because it's an abundance. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what part of the world you live in, you're going to find those two things. Yeah. They're everywhere, right? So there's this universal scope for the elements, at least. But the reason it's a continual sign is because it's an incomplete meal. Yep. And in the original Passover meal, there were 4 goblets of wine. He drank the third one, and he said, "This is the blood of the new covenant shed for you," right? For the remission of sins. And it was the third goblet, which was the cup of redemption. The fourth one, which was the cup of consummation, for the Jewish Passover, was not served. He actually said, "I will not drink the fruit of the vine until I drink it with you anew in the kingdom." So you're right. The table points back to everything that Jesus has done and reminds us of the promise of what he will do when he returns. Yeah.
There's a song by Sovereign Grace Music called Promises, and it's a kid song, but it's about being faithful to his promises. Yeah. And it's good. I mean, it basically hits all these same elements we've been talking about, and super, super fun for your kids to listen to. Plug. But there's things about the supper I think we forget about when we're taking it. We're so worried about cellophane and not spilling and everything on the carpet. And what's really happening is that we are joining in this large thing that cannot be shared or cannot be done individually. It just can't. We have a hard time understanding, in the grand scheme of things, ourself in time generally, right? And so the supper is actually there to reorient you in a lot of ways. A lot of people, I think, reason why we think that the supper is like a droll meal or like a downward cast, it's not exciting, it's not a celebratory thing, is because a lot of emphasis has been put on sin in that time. And yes, there should be some understanding of your sin before a holy God. Right. The problem is if you leave it there.
Yeah.
And the reason why we take the supper is to remind ourselves of the goodness of our Savior. Mm-hmm. You know, there's nothing better than what Jesus has provided other than himself, his blood and his body on our behalf, so that we might be reconciled to God. So I was thinking about the supper on Sunday when I was trying to get through all my stuff.
So
and
you're going to have some different opinions about it.
Yeah.
One is transubstantiation, all right, which is the Catholic Church's view of the Lord's Supper, and they basically mean transubstantiation. So a couple of words in there. Yep. Substance, trans. Trans means across.
To move across, yes.
Yeah. So
like transport.
Like you transport something. So when the Catholics have the Mass, they believe that the substance moves from one thing to another. There's a transformation of the substance. So the wafer that is placed on the tongue mysteriously and mystically is transformed from a, I guess, gluten-free little wafer to the actual flesh of Jesus, mystically. And the blood or the wine is transformed, the substance changes to the actual blood of Jesus. So they do not see this as Jesus being metaphorical when he said, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you can have no part of me. They take that very literally to where they believe that somehow in the Mass this miracle takes place. And there's a Latin phrase, the priest holds up the bread, and he utters this Latin phrase, and then he breaks the little wafer thing, right, above his head. And the Latin phrase sounds awfully familiar to abracadabra.
I thought it was hocus pocus.
Oh, hocus pocus. I'm sorry.
Hocus pocus.
I got tripped up because Charlie Nifong and I like to trade jokes.
Oh, boy.
And so I told him a joke Sunday. I said, what do you call a dog that can do tricks?
Don't know.
A labracadabrador. So this was our joke on Sunday, right?
Yes.
So kind of stupid. But anyway.
But it's like
hocus pocus. Something like that. So hocus pocus is where that comes from.
Right.
And musicians use that to say, hey, I put an egg in the hat and I pulled out a bunny. Hocus pocus. It changed, right?
Yeah.
So they really believe that. They believe there is some sort of mystical, magical change in the substance. Then you have the Lutheran view, which is consubstantiation.
Right.
The word con means with.
Yep.
So there's an idea in the Lutheran tradition that Christ is in the elements in a special way. Like he's not, it's not changed into his physical presence, but it carries his physical manifestation. Yes. It's a different idea. But one of the weird things about both of these traditions is that they are what's the right word here? They're trying really hard to manifest a tangible reality for the congregant. Right. And so they're trying to put meaning into something which is not really where the meaning should be put. And so what I was one of the things I emphasized in the Exploring Membership class was both of these ideas, is that we actually find meaning in the Word of Christ, that His Word is what carries the weight because it's called the power of God unto salvation. Yeah. We do everything to proclaim that Word, the gospel itself, and in the proclamation of the gospel is where the power of the Spirit is. It's not in the giving of a wafer and of juice or wine. Right. It actually doesn't carry any significance. But I talked about it this way. Keep going. We talk about memorialism. Yeah. So Baptists have traditionally leaned more into the meal as a memorial. We are remembering, do this in remembrance of me. And yet our Baptist forefathers talked about the signs not just the signs of the covenant, but other elements as things that God used to strengthen our faith.
Yeah.
And what they called those things, they said these things are means of grace.
Yep.
So the means leads to an end, right?
Yep.
So what they were saying is that the preaching of the word, the gathering of the saints, the celebration of the supper, that these things, God uses these things to strengthen our faith as we remember what Christ has done.
Yep.
So we don't believe that the wafer or the fruit of the vine becomes a different substance.
Yeah.
And we don't necessarily believe that Christ is with us.
Specifically.
He's what I mean is he's with us when we gather, we believe that, but that somehow it takes on a different presence when we have the supper. We don't believe that. But we do believe, but we also don't believe that we're just supposed to see the table like we're looking at a picture or a postcard from an old vacation. Wasn't that a good time? Let's look back and see what we did.
Yeah,
it is an actual encouragement of our faith.
Right.
So this is why Paul says things like, look, don't come to the table in an unworthy manner. And what he means by that is not necessarily, we're all unworthy.
Yeah.
What he means in that instance in the context is you had people coming to the table who were being flippant about their sin.
Yeah.
We don't, everybody that comes to the table limps to the table, right? We don't have it all perfect figured out. But we come to the table with an attitude of we hate our sin.
Yeah.
We're not reveling in it, rejoicing in it. We're not hard-hearted against it. And so you don't have to have it all figured out, right? You don't have to be perfect in every aspect of your life in order to come to the table. It just is this recognition. I am a sinner. Christ is my Savior. And I'm remembering him. And this is to strengthen my faith and to lead me towards to strive after holiness and godliness.
Yeah, because it is that remembrance of the word of Christ. Is that I mean, that's what we're doing. Is we're putting we're putting the emphasis on what God has said is true, rather than what we are receiving.
Correct.
So, like the two other positions, consubstantiation, transubstantiation, the Roman Catholic Church, the Lutheran Church, and even some of the like Presbyterian tradition of real presence would say that this actually changes you when you take the actual elements. At some level, it changes you, gives you grace, it changes you in some way. But when we say strengthen, we mean it's the reminder of the gospel.
Yeah.
It's the reminder of what Christ has done. And
so just as you would gaze upon a rainbow and be reminded of
God's promises.
God's promise.
Yeah.
We look upon the table and we participate in this meal as a reminder not only of what God has done, he has kept his word, but he's also made a promise to finish the meal.
Yeah.
And we look forward to that.
Yeah.
And it strengthens us. So every time we take it, I always end by saying, today we took it in welcome. Maybe next time we'll take it in Jerusalem.
Yep.
It's just a reminder. This is our hope.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to strengthen our hope and faith in the person and work of Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about something funny that happened a little while ago. I guess it's about 8 years ago at this point. There was a famous pastor, writer who had made this kind of shift and said the pulpit's not the center of the service. It's not the preaching of the word that's really the most important part. It's the Lord's Supper that's the most important part. What are they getting backwards? What do you think that they're getting backwards when they say this element is more important than this element, or this sign is more important than this thing? Yeah. What do you do in that case? Like, how do you? Because I'm sure people read this guy's books. They probably don't even know that this is where he's coming from. But if they run across it, I can hear them saying, "Well, that makes a lot of sense." If they're not careful.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's so passionate, he really cares about this particular thing, and there are a lot of people that I would say upend the. I mean, again, the sign is not the thing,
right?
So,
right.
But what do you think that they're? what are they emphasizing? Why do you think they're getting there? All that fun stuff.
Well, there might be, there is an attraction to some mysticism that creeps in, and the Lord's Supper, where you're actively participating and holding the elements and tasting the elements and the senses are involved and all of that. It can, it can sort of filter over into emotionalism or mysticism in a way that makes you feel sort of some spiritual thing,
closer to God.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
More tangible presence.
For us, we don't take the supper every Sunday. Some churches do. There's nothing wrong with that. And I would be fine if we took it every Sunday. It doesn't. I don't.
Ditto.
Some people say things like this. They say, "Well, if you take it every Sunday, it'll lose its specialness." Well, we don't feel that way about baptism. We'd baptize every Sunday if we could.
We don't feel that way about the preaching of the word.
Yeah, and
we don't think about singing.
So I would say that that what we believe is that we only know about the supper and are instructed about the supper through the word.
Right.
So we're not going to. You can gather, and as a church family, and not take the Lord's Supper, and
yes,
you can do that. We're free to do it. To celebrate it whenever.
Every time we talk about this, I get as often as you do this,
as
or
often,
when you gather,
as often.
I'm like, yeah,
I know, but
it's not a command.
It's not a command.
Yeah.
But we would say to ourselves every single time we get together, the word has to be central.
Absolutely,
has to be central, and the table points to the living word, and so we don't want there to be a. We don't want to split hairs over this.
No.
We don't want to put one element above another one and say, well, this one or whatever. We see them and they're all valuable. We wouldn't pit one against another. I mean, that we wouldn't want to sort of split things on those kind of lines. What we will split things over is on what the word clearly says and what the word clearly teaches. If somebody's out of bounds with that, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to go there. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a dangerous topic. I come from a church that takes communion every single Sunday because it's a reminder. It's the most tangible reminder as you leave that place of the gospel itself. After you've heard the word, it's like the best kind of response. And in some thought process is to take the supper together because we're unified under the word and under Christ's word itself, and it's just a good reminder. But one thing I don't really. Do I miss it? Yes, I miss taking it every Sunday, mostly because it reminds me that it doesn't matter the busyness of my life, I've situated myself, and God has situated me in time, and He's asked me to be faithful right now. And that was the most tangible reminder of that every time.
Sure.
Was that I'm asked to be faithful right now, not asked to be faithful with tomorrow or yesterday that has already passed me. It reduced, I'll say it this way, tangibly, it reduced my anxiety.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, because it reminded me of God's promise in the past, His promise that He's keeping right now, and His promise for the future. And so I didn't feel like I had to control tomorrow. I didn't feel like I had to control even the next 5 minutes, because God has brought me to this place, reminded me of His grace, and now sending me out to proclaim that goodness. So as silly as that might sound to somebody, maybe, I think that's one of the greatest and most tangible places within the life of the church to be reminded of those things. Because the preaching of the word, the Lord's Supper points back to that preaching of the word.
Right.
If the word is proclaiming the gospel, if the preaching is proclaiming the gospel, then all this is doing is reinforcing that gospel. Yeah. Right. And it's that gospel, the gospel of Christ, that reminds us that He is the sovereign creator, sustainer of everyone and everything. Yeah. He's the one that is all good, all wise, all loving, and I can trust Him. Yeah. And so I think that's probably the biggest takeaway that I had from that. And I would love to go back to it. I know that it's like a logistical issue to do that on a scale of like our church. But
I want to be careful with the signs.
Yeah,
they're signs.
They're signs.
They point to something, and they're good.
Yes,
and we are to see them regularly in the life of the church, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing: I don't ever want to get to a place where I have a different sort of affection or spiritual connection to holding the elements in my hand that I don't have by just holding the Bible in my hand.
Agreed.
I would just love to see people just with great joy carrying a Bible to worship.
Agreed. I was thinking the same thing.
Right?
Yes.
And to see that this word that we have the written word that points to the living word. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to split hairs over that, right? I don't want to create false dichotomies between these things. And so, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm
with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hear why what I just said actually could be misconstrued. But the only reason why that is because it points me to the scriptures, right? It points me to what God has said. It's not pointing to what I think is real. It's actually pointing me to reality itself, and what God says it is. One of the questions that comes with Lord's Supper is, where does it fall in relationship to baptism? We've already talked about this as an initiatory sign, an ongoing sign.
Yeah. So,
but is it wrong for somebody?
Yes, I think it is
to take the supper before they are baptized.
I would say yes. I would say that that the Scripture indicates that after the initiatory sign, then you are welcomed to the table. Right?
Yes.
This has been not only a scriptural pattern, but it's also been the practice of Baptist churches since they were formed.
Right.
And so even when I was growing up as a kid, when we would have the Lord's Supper, I couldn't take it.
Right. And
my parents said, well, you've not made a profession of faith and been baptized. And so I understood, even as a little kid, that there was one sign that came before the other. And so the initiatory sign of baptism happens first.
Yeah.
And then you're welcome to the table. When you read, and we'll close with this, Pilgrim's Progress, I'm working through that book with a group of guys. Bunyan was born into the Anglican Church. He was christened as a baby, becomes convinced of believers' baptism. He's baptized in the river. But in those days, if someone wanted to become a member of the Baptist Church, there was a pretty extreme process. First thing you had to do was you had to meet with the pastor.
Yeah.
And the pastor had to interview you and to try to determine if indeed you had a credible profession of faith. Then after that, after the pastor, you would have to meet with the elders, the whole group. And if they felt good about you, then you had to meet with the entire congregation.
Yeah.
And the whole congregation, you had to stand there and give your testimony, and they could grill you with questions. And then you were dismissed. And the congregation would sit in the room and try to figure out if you were a real believer or not.
Yeah.
And if they were convinced that your conversion was genuine, they would summon you. You would come back in. They would welcome you into the fellowship of the church, the local church. And if you had not been baptized, you'd be baptized. And after that, you'd be welcomed to the table.
Yeah.
And you would celebrate this family meal at the table. And so that's always been the practice. And we believe that's a biblical idea as well. So my encouragement is that to come to the table. The table is open to baptized believers.
Yeah, one of the things that helped me here earlier in my walk was to understand that when Jesus meets with Nicodemus, Nicodemus says, he says you must be. Jesus says you must be born again.
Yeah.
This idea of being born again of water and of does he say water and blood? Or water and spirit. Mm-hmm. But he says very particularly. And one of the points that he's trying to make is that, and this is where I take, you have to be baptized before you go to the supper. It's because we're initiated into the family when we are born of our mothers. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we come to the table when we're born physically. Right. It's the same way with baptism. We are baptized by the Spirit into Christ, and we are that sign that we give of the profession of our faith is in the baptistry waters.
Right.
And that is your new birth, quote unquote, before the whole congregation. Everybody's made known. And that's when you're admitted to the family table the same way. It's pretty logical flow. And it follows the pattern of life that God's already given us. It's pretty interesting how Jesus just uses that.
Yeah.
One more interesting point, I'll be done, is Augustine, back in the old days, they used to wait 3 years between your profession.
Yeah.
They would catechize you. They would teach you the faith. They would test you. Yes. So you had these people that are like in between. They would be professors, and then they would be catechumens, and then they would be baptized. And so 3 years. We'll baptize you tomorrow. I'm not saying that we're not as careful. I'm saying that there was a point in history where this was even more drawn out than even Bunyan's day.
Yes.
And it's I think
people traditionally and historically have been very cautious.
Yes.
With administering the signs too quickly.
Yes.
We might read the Ethiopian eunuch and say, well, he was baptized immediately and it was spontaneous baptism, and so let's go ahead and, and so some churches look at that and they say we want to be a little more careful with that, especially given that we live in a time where Christianity is nominal, traditional, and sort of expected. If you grew up in a Christian family, it's expected that you're going to make a decision and be baptized.
That's a good word for it.
And so a lot of people have grown up in churches, were baptized fairly early as children.
I was baptized at 7.
Only to realize at some point later on that they did not believe or trust in the gospel.
Yeah. They
were just joining a church.
Yeah.
And they have become convinced through the reading of the word and conviction of the Holy Spirit that they were not Christians. And so they genuinely put their faith in Jesus and believe that baptism was not a valid baptism. They're baptized as a genuine believer. This happens a ton.
Yes.
So part of the pushback of that is maybe we should wait. Maybe we should wait to see if there is genuine evidence over a period of time that this person really is a believer. Because we are supposed to be careful with the signs, not flippant with the signs.
Right.
And so, but every church has to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
They got to figure
and every church figures that out.
And I would say, parents have to figure that out when they have kids that come to faith in Christ. That baptism is not the key to heaven. Christ is the key.
Yes.
And so you can wait.
Yes.
And you can wait to see if indeed I've had parents that have done it, waited till their child was 17, 18 years old before they felt like they were comfortable as moms and dads saying, all right, we believe that you're now a proper candidate for baptism. So,
and I think that's a very conservative, smart way to do it. And the reason why is because they're the closest disciplers of their kids.
W.A. Criswell, the pastor at First Baptist Church of Dallas for many years, he didn't baptize anyone under the age of 10.
Yeah.
All right. I have heard of some.
There's even some around that I know that 18 is the cutoff.
18 is the cutoff. They won't baptize anybody under the age of 18. Yep. And that's they're free to figure that out. There is no law or rule that says there's a certain age. But I think the issue is we don't want to give anyone false assurance because they got wet.
Right.
Or because they took communion.
Yeah.
We want to be careful.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think that's been a great episode on Baptist distinctions. I think we're done with Baptist distinctions. We're going to figure something else out to talk about.
Figure something else out,
But I'm sure we'll hear about New York next time. Mm-hmm. And but Yeah, I think that's good enough for this one. This has been another episode of Beyond the Pew. I'm Corey.
I'm Chris.
And we'll talk to you later.